This video contains spoilers for one of the secret unlockable characters in Fields of Mistria. Additionally, the B-roll footage was taken from the 1.0 update, so there may be small visual spoilers in the beginning of this video as well. With the recent release of the Fields of Mistria 1.0 update, I thought it would be a fun challenge to try and draw this model in the style of the game's character portraits. A challenge because, well, I hate making pixel art. I'm not good at it, it makes my hand hurt, and I don't like doing it. But sometimes art is about doing things you're bad at, and that's okay. I've actually drawn in the style of this game before. I did these portraits last year. I finished this one. I did not finish this one of winter because I just really didn't like how it was coming out. That being said, it's a new year, and with no practice at pixel art and not having worked on the skills at all in the meantime, let's see if we can do better. As with any time you're trying to emulate the style of another piece of media, of course I always start with references. Adeline is my main reference here, but I also have Caldaris and the Dragon Priestess, as well as Darcy for some hair references. I struggled a little with the sketch because this game has a very retro anime style, and I am more of a semi-realistic artist. Here I am, kind of checking the proportions with Adeline's sprite. As always with anime styles, my eyes and face are way too high up and my forehead isn't big enough, so I go ahead and move those down, then move to the hair. The hair is gonna go through a lot of changes. It's probably the hardest part, and by probably, I mean definitely. Her outfit really wasn't too bad. It's a pretty straightforward outfit. I was not sure if I wanted to add her ears and tail because there aren't any Nekomimi in Fields of Mistria, but instead of adapting her to the game itself, I decided to just draw her sprite as is because that's what I wanted to do originally. I'm not trying to make her into a Mistria canon compliant character. I'm just drawing her as she is in the style. I used to not color my sketches, but I've actually found that coloring sketches makes your life way easier in the long run. Flat coloring a sketch really doesn't take that long, and it helps those mistakes and weird proportion issues pop out before you've committed 3 hours to line art, so that's why I do that. I check the size against Adeline to make sure the scale is correct, and then I move into the line art. This was awful. It made my hand hurt. It took forever. And I have not done pixel art in a very long time. Her face is probably my favorite part of the finished product. One of the reasons pixel art takes so long is because you have to edit every single line dot by dot. I know in Fields of Mistria there are some stair-stepping and uneven lines, but the way I was taught to do pixel art, we don't do that, so I didn't. One of the challenges I had with the lower body, despite referencing the proportions on Adeline's sprite, was that her lower half came out way thicker than I intended. In my art, I like having curvy proportions, even on more slim characters, but that doesn't match the style of the game, so we did have to tone that down a little bit. Even though it's cute, it's not exactly the body type I was going for in the style of this game. Then I go ahead and add the little details. I did skip a couple of them. For example, the dangle on her jacket doesn't make it in, just because in pixel art you kind of have to pick and choose your details, and that is one of the ones that I chose to leave out. You'll see me working on her brow piercing there. That gets covered by her hair, so don't get too attached to it. Speaking of her hair, by far the worst part of this, doing curls is hard on a good day. Doing curls in pixel art is even harder. This took forever. I spent so much time editing this. You're gonna see me completely redraw the hair a couple times because I just didn't like how certain parts of the braids were coming out. And you'll see me going back to Caldaris and the Dragon Priestess over and over and over again to get that braid shape correct. One of the hard parts about doing styles is when you don't actually have a reference for something you're doing. A lot of the time when I draw characters with braids, there might not be characters with braids in that piece of media, so I have to make it up. But this one luckily has two characters with very similar looking braids to what I wanted, so that was the only lucky part of this. You're gonna see me tweaking and modifying this hair till the very end. I work on it the entire time. Another small detail that's not gonna make the cut is the flowers in her hair. Again, with pixel art, you only have so much space to work with, and you can get really crowded if you try and jam everything in, so they do not make it into the final product. I had her cowlick in the sketch. I didn't end up keeping it. It's actually not on her model either, it's just in her concept art, and sometimes I draw it when I'm illustrating her. But it was cut here. You might think the earrings would have been really hard, but they were actually super simple because I just really simplified the shapes. I'm delighted that her dragon came out on the first try. I thought I'd be futzing with it for a lot longer, but nope, it just came out right on the first time. And that's wonderful. Here I am making her shoulder a little narrower because it came out a lot broader than I expected. The characters in this game tend to have very large chests, even the ones that have a more slim body type. Then I move on to the flat colors, pretty simple here. The biggest challenge was her freckles because I wanted to have the details, but I didn't want them to look muddy. In pixel art, this can be a bit of a challenging balancing act. Put on her makeup, there's her brow piercing again, don't get attached. Her eyes were a little different from the style of the game because her pupils are actually lighter than her eyes. She doesn't have black pupils. At first I wasn't sure if that would look good, but I ended up actually really liking it. When I was coloring her jacket, I debated adding the gradient because I know gradients aren't really a thing you use in pixel art, but I added it, I liked it, it stays. We can break the rules just a little, it's fine. You're gonna see more gradients later, so don't get too mad at me. I did the detail on her lace stockings even though they don't actually make it into the final cut, but I know they're there and that's what's important. And now onto the hair. I actually ended up going with the highlight color for her hair and using that as the base, and then using the dark black color that's actually the base color as the shadow because I wanted the hair line art to stick out. I spent so much time on that line art and damn it, you are going to see it. I edited the braid a little because I just didn't like how much it was covering up. It was originally going to be kind of behind her chest, but then it was clipping through the folded over part of her jacket and it didn't make sense to me. So even though it does cover up a lot of her body, both of the braids are on top. Here I am fixing up the line art a little bit. And then we move on to this shading. I think that the artist who originally did this shaded the pieces individually. I just use a multiply layer and throw it over the top. This shading style is very simple, and also I have no idea how they did it at the same time because it uses a lot of anti-aliasing, which I'm not familiar with using in pixel art. So I really am just guessing at how they did the shading and basing off of that. There's a lot of 1 pixel thick shading around all of the edges and then some softer anti-aliased edges, and I did my best. You'll see me playing with the colors a little bit, and especially on her jacket. I wasn't really liking how the jacket colors were coming out in the shading. Highlights in this style are luckily very simple. It's really just a quick highlight in the hair and the eye, and that's it. And some in the gold as well. This came as such pretty vibrant gold. I love it so much. With a couple more adjustments to the shading, tweaking here and there, coloring the line art, and adding her constellation, we are just about done here. I do add a little glow to the constellation, which maybe doesn't fit the style of the game, but it glows. I wanted it to glow. You're allowed to do that. And here's the finished piece. I really wasn't sure going into this one, especially because I've had difficulty emulating this style before, but in the end, I'm really happy with how she came out. The face in particular is my favorite part. I think she looks so sweet. Does she fit in as a villager? Not really, but I think the style is almost there. Anyway, for anyone playing the 1.0 update of Fields of Mistria, I hope you're loving it. I hope it's everything you wanted it to be. For anyone unfamiliar with the game, if you like Stardew Valley but don't like the saturation in summer, you will probably like Fields of Mistria, and I suggest you give it a try. Anyway, that'll be it for me, and I hope to see you again soon.